Well, I hope you guys have had a safe trip so far on fall break, and I told you this would probably be torture watching me. If you don't want to watch me, if you just want to listen and take notes, that'll be fine too. If you go back to your materials package when we were talking about negotiation, one thing that I wanted to make clear that I may not have made clear that maybe in real estate, the most important thing to know about negotiation is that you have to take time to develop a relationship with the client. And I know I mentioned this, but I want to reinforce it. If you're going out and looking at someone's house, I think it's really, really important to spend time with the person maybe 3 or 4 times and really let them get to know you. Don't comment in a negative way about their house, but really be supportive of everything you see and make a real attempt to connect with them personally, because the probability is then they're going to want to work with you a lot more. So I think it's having the wisdom, maybe the right brain intelligence to know that you have to work your way into the relationship, develop the relationship, and over time, good things will happen as a result of that. I gave the example of class of a lady finally getting to the point where she said, I'm going to give you the same pricing I would give my best friend. And I think I may have commented that you can't do better than best friend pricing. Also, I think the concept of small counteroffers, I mentioned that before. If I was going to pick out something that may be the most important in real estate, we're talking thousands of dollars. So I don't want you to think of it as $1,000 when you save $1,000 on a real estate transaction. I want you to think of it as 3,000 because that's closer to what it would be over a 30-year period. So really be careful in negotiating. Everything on that sheet that we talked about where you're making an offer is negotiable. The taxes are negotiable. Many people on the first exam struggled a little bit with that tax thing. They didn't really understand how it works. You usually can't get the purchaser to pay all the past taxes, but you might be able to get them to do the next installment. Certainly you can argue for other things on there, things that could be purchased as part of the home. There's a variety of negotiating options built right into that purchase agreement, so that's certainly worth looking at. Last night I did a little bit on MyBore and talked a little bit about the value of MyBore and what a research tool it is. I think one of the things I like most about it is the history that you can get on a house. Shows you over the last few years what the house was purchased and sold for. I may even give some indication of what changes were made on the house. A wonderful tool to see both what's happening in the economy. If you look at several houses during that time period, you can see what's happening in the economy and also get a good idea of what the house is really, really valued at. That may be more valuable almost than doing a CMA, doing a market study and a comparison of other houses, although that's important too. So that's a powerful tool, and if you're going to use realtors, get one who's going to take the time with you to do the research you can sit down with and look at the houses and their history, do the CMA reports and a variety of other things to make sure you're getting a deal. And I think in negotiating it's important to remember that most of the money is made on the purchase. When you can buy property and basically make 20 or 25,000 at the beginning by a good negotiation, I think that's really, really important. So if it takes a long time for the property to pay off. It's going to take a long time for it to go up in value, but if you can make 25 or 30,000 on the way in by buying the property right, I think that's probably where the most money can be made, and certainly the return on investment is the highest, especially if you're turning property. So that's all I want to say about negotiation. Hopefully the MyBore stuff was good. I want to talk a little bit about foreclosures and pre-foreclosures, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about construction, and then, as I promised, I'm going to come back and torture you with some of the real estate information about how to work with realtors and their code of ethics. First of all, foreclosures are really a great thing, and especially in today's environment where the market's flooded with foreclosures, you can really get some excellent deals. The tough part of foreclosures is many times you'll find that you're working with a bank, and that bank may or may not be receptive to your creative offers. Sometimes they respond quickly, sometimes they take a long time to respond to what you have to say. And it may revolve around the person at the bank. Do they want to take the write-off while they're in that position, or do they want to, if they're moving to a new position, they may be holding to take fewer write-offs during the time period that you're working with them. And sometimes you find them very flexible, sometimes not. You really don't know until you get there. So it's a a game of patience many times. You can't really take a close look at foreclosures many times and get an idea. So you have to have a lot of flex in there because you may not be able to, you may have to buy it as is. My other problem with foreclosures is that, generally speaking, if it's a good foreclosure, many people who do this for a living are already there, so there's almost a bidding war that goes on. And again, I don't have a ton of experience here. We probably should get somebody who talks about foreclosures all the time and find out what their take is on it. I know it's a great opportunity, but my rule is I don't want to have any house more than 5 minutes from my house because I want to be able to manage that. And there's not that many foreclosures within 5 minutes of my house. Maybe there is right now, but normally there isn't. So the foreclosure almost always will be outside of the area that I want to serve. And the problem I have with that is all the running I have to do in my car to go look at the property, show the property, work on the property. I'm kind of selfish about my time. I'd rather be closer to home. One of the things that I really like even better than foreclosures is pre-foreclosures. And what a pre-foreclosure is someone wanting to get out of the house who's probably missed maybe 4 or 5 months of payments and are in trouble, but it hasn't really gone into the foreclosure process. And what you can do as a purchaser with that kind of person is you can come in and lots of times get a good price, especially if they have some equity in the property. And what you can do is basically pay the payments that they've missed and maybe get a big reduction in the cost, allow them to save their credit, because if it goes into foreclosure, it's going to trash their credit. Sometimes you can buy their house and allow them to continue living in the house, which is really a cool thing. They're in trouble, and maybe you can buy the house and actually reduce their monthly cost, or work out a situation. Maybe their situation's turned, but they can't come up with the 5 months that they missed. You can come up with that. You take control of the house and sell them on contract, and they verify each month that they're making the payment. Or you do it on a lease option kind of basis, if you can again save their credit.